Good morning again, it's 7:39.
Yes, time for the newspapers this morning. Let's start with the Mail. Should we brace for the pain of the big crunch? It says,
cheers you up, doesn't it?
Households face tough times as the Bank of England predicts inflation could hit 11%.
And next is the Eye. Ministers say they may rule out tax cuts for 2 years until inflation comes back under control, leaving most of us very worried over our personal finances.
There's a shock as food prices are set to rocket by 15% this summer. That's in the Express. It says a typical family of four's monthly shopping bill could go from £396 to £439.
And The Guardian says Boris Johnson may scrap the role of ethics advisor after Lord Geit's resignation.
The FT says Ukraine's drive to join the EU is gaining impetus from European leaders. There's an EU summit next week, which is going to debate giving Ukraine candidate status.
And in The Times, England's most senior doctor has said doctors must stop doling out a pill for every ill. He says it leaves millions of patients hooked on drugs that they don't actually need.
I don't know, that sort of headline always worries me.
Worries me too. Does that mean your doctor's just not going to be very helpful next time you need something?
Sometimes it's the little pills save you. But anyway, it depends on what it is. And let's go through the papers in a bit more detail there with Benjamin Butterworth from the Eye and Dawn Neeson, former editor of the Daily Star. Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
We'll kick off, Dawn, since we're talking weather, with a bit of sun lotion in the Times.
Shall we? Let's
Slap it
see.
on.
Seamless link from what you've been talking about. Right, yeah. This is our third story on the front page of the Times. But cheap sun lotions put eco brands in the shade. See what they did there? Evidently, this is a Which report they're reporting on, and it's shown that own brand sun creams from the likes of sort of like Asda, Morrisons, Superdrug are actually better than their more expensive mineral-based alternatives, which are often sold as eco-friendly. So people buy them because they think it's more eco-friendly,
But actually they're not working.
they're not as good for you at protecting you against the sun as the cheaper supermarket brands. The mineral-based ones are sort of like are designed to absorb the UV rays, but the chemical-based ones, which the cheaper ones tend to be, actually protect you more.
Right.
So it's very interesting, but people are fooled by, you stick eco on anything these days, and people will buy it, won't they, even if it's actually quite patently not true. Clinique, which is one of the brands that have said, isn't as good, have rejected the study, saying its product has met with all the necessary standards in its own test.
But this was a Which report.
This is a Which report. It's quite an extensive one as well, Anne, and they are urging the public not to waste money after several brands were proven to be expensive. Not a waste of time, they do provide protection,
But not
as much as the supermarket. So on a day like today, where most of the country is going to be, asking in glorious
Slip, slop,
sunshine. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I feel like the price isn't such a worry, given we only get about 3 days of sun.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Don't go through bottles of the stuff.
The question is whether it still works in 5 years' time when you've still got the same bottle of sun.
Yes, but
It's not.
there is a shelf life, isn't there? I mean,
Yeah.
you sort of like, because as Benjamin's just said, we get so rare days of sunshine in this country. You put it, in your bathroom and get it out a couple of years later when we have the next sunny day, and it doesn't work at all.
No, got to be a bit careful with it. Mind you, I never put any on.
No, not do I know.
I've got some. I think I never get around to putting it on.
No, it's all
Get out of the sun.
sticky and messy, isn't it? Yeah.
Horrible,
Is that because you want to tan quick?
No, I just don't like I buy the you buy the spray ones.
Yes,
that
the spray
goes
ones,
everywhere.
yeah.
It goes everywhere and it's horrible to feel.
And you spray it and it goes on the bathroom floor and it's slippy, and then you slip over and you don't get out because you're in hospital with broken legs.
Although I always think of Dame Joan Collins, who obviously looks incredible, and whenever she's asked what's the secret to looking so beautiful in your 80s, she says that she's always avoided the sun.
That's right. Yeah.
She is living proof.
I can't do that either, though.
No, me neither. I think we're doomed, Dan.
Right, a much more serious story. This really shocked me when I first heard about it, Benjamin, about this child catcher.
Yeah, and that's not just a silly way to refer to this woman. So Vladimir Putin appointed a quote-unquote children's rights commissioner, kind of titled a we'd have in any Western country. But this woman wasn't to look after children's rights. It's said that she has taken 232,000 children who've been taken from Ukraine to Russia, and she's been the woman presiding over
232,000?
Yeah, so this is from territories that, UK would recognise as Ukraine, but Russia...
This is over a long period of time, then?
Yeah, I mean, we know that they're at the moment they're shipping adults, children into Russia to try and make them Russians rather than Ukrainians, to try and affect the way that they see the conflict, which is appalling. The only good thing in this story is that the Foreign Secretary Liz Truss has stepped in and has frozen this woman, Maria Lvova-Belova, if I pronounced that right, which I doubt I have. They've frozen her assets and put a travel ban on her from the UK. So we've taken action, but
So she's going to be sort of personally sanctioned.
That's right. She's had a personal sanction on her assets by the UK government. But we look back at the last couple of months, and I think although the sanctions are clearly the right thing to do on so many levels, it's not stopping Vladimir from doing anything.
No. Oh, it's worrying. It is hugely worrying.
It is, and you just think in decades to come, like some of the things that we learned in history books, you look at this and you hardly believe it ever happened. And yet, almost certainly right now, not very far away, there are kids being taken away.
And she'll be making profits from it as well, won't she? Presumably. Which I suppose freezing her assets might help put a bit of pressure on, but it's just disgusting thinking it's going on at all.
It is, isn't it? Look, I hate to say it, guys, but we're out of time.
Oh, I was going to ask you about your woggle.
You woggle?
Your woggle.
Oh, yes.
We'll have to do it next time round,
Yes,
Stephen.
woggle. Yeah, I had a woggle.
Yeah, I bet you did.
Yeah, we're going to be talking. We'll do it next time. We'll talk
Next
about scouting because we particularly want to hear from you. If you were Girl Scout, Girl Guide, Boy Scout, Brownie, whatever, dib, and
Scout.
the rest of it. Yeah. I mean, Did you
Yes.
have any of those little badges?
I jump absolutely covered in them. Yeah.
Sweet.
And I met up with Arcala just the other week. Old Arcala, Dave Reynolds.
Oh right, yeah.
There you go. Very nice. Happy times.
Yeah, because scouting is more popular than ever apparently. But we'll talk about that next.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Dawn, Benjamin, thank you.